Hello, everyone. We're on the episode 31 of the What the Hell Are We Doing podcast. Today we're doing an amazing content creator over on Twitch. He's very humble. He's a very nice person. Welcome in, Skyblur. How are you doing?
I'm doing great today, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, dude. Go ahead and tell us about yourself and all you do on Twitch.
Sounds good. Well, my name is Sean, but I go by the Twitch handle Skyblur. You can find me on twitch.tv/Skyblur_. We play a lot of games on my channel, obviously. I focus a lot on more on story-driven one-player experiences. So I just recently played through The Last of Us, Days Gone. We put a lot of focus on the fun and reacting to like some crazy things in video games. I play a lot of horror games. One of my favorite things to do is I have a scare counter at the bottom of my screen so people can play some scary sound alerts. And they try to pick their moment, and if they get me to scream, I add to the scare counter. But I make them compete against the game, so I add another scare counter for when the game scares me.
Nice.
So that's kind of the basic overview there.
And how many times have you been scared by the viewers versus in the game?
Oh my gosh. My viewers take their job way too seriously. If I had to even guess the total amount in the 5 months I've been streaming, I mean, I would say we're at least over the 500 mark for sure. And climbing, and they beat the game every time. I think the amount of times that the game I've been playing has scared me has probably been about maybe 100 or so.
So, how'd you get into gaming, Sky?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. I remember when I was, as long as I can remember. So I come from a military family, so we moved around a lot. And so making friends was kind of difficult for me. But my family had an original NES. And that would be like, that's the first console that I ever remember having, and it wasn't technically mine, it was my brother's. But the first game I ever remember playing was Super Mario Bros. And apparently I got very good at it because I played all the time. And then my love for gaming just sort of cascaded from there. I remember when the Nintendo 64 first came out, I was so excited. I don't know if you remember when you used to go to like an electronics store like Best Buy or something. They used to have like the demos out where you could like play the games before you buy it.
Yeah.
Like that was my favorite thing to do. Anytime we went to Best Buy or an electronics store, that's what I would always do, and I was good for hours just doing that. And I remember my parents.
I believe Walmart and Target still has those, but like I believe that they're slowly taking those away due to COVID. So like those are being pretty rare now.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have that anymore. And so I remember my parents said, "Hey, we'll get you an N64. You have to work really hard. You have to do your chores. Save up $100 for it." And I remember there was one day we were going to the electronics store. I had like maybe $85 saved up. I was so close, but I just knew that we weren't going to be able to get it. And so we go to the electronics store. My dad goes away for a little bit. I of course go, play the demo of Mario 64. And my dad comes up to me and was like, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm like, "I'm playing Mario." And he's just like, "Well, wouldn't you just rather play this at home?" And that's when we got it. I was so excited.
Nice. Did you ever get into Metal Slug?
Yeah, and then I got into I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What'd you say?
Did you ever get into Metal Slug? It's an old arcade game.
Oh my. I've never heard of Metal Slug.
Oh.
Was that on a console, or was that like at a game that you would find in an arcade with quarters and stuff?
I think it was both arcade and PSN, PS3. I think it was a handheld PS console. with a little
Okay.
disc?
I didn't actually get like any PlayStation consoles until maybe I was a teenager. I was strictly Nintendo growing up.
So, what inspired your name, Skyblur?
Well, as you can tell, I'm like super into, superheroes, superhero movies, nerdy stuff like that. And so I kind of picked the name because I was like, okay, if I was a superhero, these would be my powers. What would my name be? Well, I would want to fly, and I'd want to fly really fast. So Sky Blur, I guess that's kind of cool. And that just kind of ended up being my Xbox gamer tag. And so then when I started streaming, I was like, yeah, I'll just use that name. That's cool.
Sweet. And do you have any goals or future goals you have in place for your Twitch channel or your personal life? As in, like, what games do you have planned for the future, or what kind of funky content you have planned?
Yeah. Well, let's see. So I play a lot of first player games right now, specifically for story. I definitely want to keep that as a strong base, but I mean, I'd like to branch out into a variety of other stuff as well. I've already kind of dabbled a little bit. I do some Lego builds sometimes. I don't know. As you can see, I've got the James Bond car right here. That Lego build took me like three days. One of actually something really cool, and I just streamed this a few days ago. I'd like to do a lot more of is murder mysteries.
Oh, I
So
should
it's
like
kind of
that.
like a yeah. So it's kind of like a board game, but not really. You have like evidence that you need to sort through, witness statements. Some of these games get like super in depth. There's like videos, there's like fake websites that you can go to, fake numbers that you can call. My wife and I subscribe to this subscription service. It's called Hunt a Killer, and they send you a box every month, and it's like a murder mystery that you need to solve. It's like having an escape room delivered to your house. But I decided, I was like, well, wouldn't it be really cool if I streamed myself doing one of these, and that way like my viewers could kind of participate with me. And so I tried that for the first time a couple of days ago, and everybody was super into it. I can't do it as often because there's not a whole lot of them around, and they are expensive. So I'm thinking maybe like a once a month thing.
Have you ever done any puzzles?
But that's kind
like any like
puzzles.
Yeah, like any like Marvel puzzles. Since you're a big Marvel fan, like any like 1,000 set puzzles.
So I'm not the biggest actually like putting a puzzle together. I'm not super great at it. My wife actually really enjoys that. I have put together recently. I did put together a puzzle. It was a DC one though. It was like all the superheroes fighting crime in the streets. Superman was there, Batman, Green Lantern, The Flash, all that. I did enjoy putting that one together. I don't normally put puzzles together because my attention span isn't that good.
And would you say you're more of a Marvel fan or a DC fan?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh man, I'm gonna start a war with this question. I know it.
A good war. A good war.
So, yeah, it's a good war. Exactly. So growing up, Superman was my favorite superhero for sure. And I think if I had to pick my favorite just single superhero, it's still Superman. Just because of his character and stuff and what he uses his powers for and his heart and everything like that. I just love the character of Superman. But I think, and growing up, DC kind of had it down with the movies and everything. And Marvel, to me, was just kind of like okay, I've seen Captain America, like okay, he just looks kind of cheesy. Like, Marvel's just looking kind of cheesy. But then I grow up, and then Marvel starts actually making Spider-Man and X-Men, and of course with the MCU. So I think as far as movies are concerned, Marvel takes the cake for as far as just general content, movies, comics, all of that. But as far as like a single superhero, if I had to, it's still Superman for me.
All right, nice. So, what inspired you to become a streamer or influence others based on your content and what you do?
Yeah, so let's see. I mean, I've always had a love for video games. Like I've always just had this fascination for how like even a video game can just affect others. Like video games nowadays tell just these incredible stories. And we all like to watch movies together, right? We all like to, just hang out and watch an amazing movie and then just experience it together and talk about it. And what was it? It was like the not the 2000s, but the teens, I guess, 2010 and on. I was in college, and I kind of started seeing, wow, there's people on the internet that are actually playing games, and people are watching that's weird, but that's also kind of cool. And I've always heard of the big Let's Players, right? PewDiePie, Markiplier, stuff like that. But I would watch them and I would think, oh my goodness, they're just so incredible at what they do. Like, there's no way that I could do it. Like, there's just no way. Then I think it was maybe 2016-ish, I think. I started watching this guy named Swing Point. And I was like, wow, he was a horror game. He's a big horror game player as well. And you can still find him on YouTube, Swing Point. And I first found him when he played Until Dawn, which is, I think, my favorite horror game of all time. And I was watching him and I was like, dang, this guy is really funny. I like watching the game, but I mostly just like watching him and his reactions, and I like watching him getting scared, and I'm like, wow, that'd be really kind of fun to do that. But I still didn't quite feel like I could do it, I guess. And then I started, watching internet content creators, play video games, and I actually came across another one. Her name was Mars, and she was the same way. She was fun to watch with her reactions and everything. And but I'll never forget, like I started watching like her Q&A videos and like how she did her setup and stuff, and she was actually the one that actually made me believe that I could do it. And so that was about 2000. So that was about last year, actually. And it was about the time my wife and I found out that we were pregnant. And sorry, I get in trouble for that. She was the one that was pregnant. I get in trouble for saying that. She was the one that was pregnant. She carried the child. So we decided that I was going to be a stay-at-home dad. And I was really excited about that. I think as far as like, what'd you say?
Did you have a job before being stay-at-home dad?
I did. I was in insurance, actually. Oh. Yeah, I was oh my gosh, I was a claims processor. I was the person you called when you were in a car accident and you needed to fix your car. Yeah, I was in a very soul-crushing call center job. And
was that a fun job?
I mean, it was as fun. It had its fun parts. Like, I liked the people that I worked with. But the job itself was just very soul crushing, very stressful. I mean, you're always talking to somebody on their worst day, and of course you have to kind of be a therapist, but at the same time you have to do all of this complicated stuff, getting their car fixed, helping them find a repair shop, tow their vehicle away from a car accident scene. Sometimes you even call somebody who just lost a loved one. And so it just took an emotional toll, and eventually my wife was like, "Man, you gotta stop doing that." And so I forgot, actually. After I did that, I actually became a teacher. I was a teacher in a special education classroom. I was what was called a para educator. So I helped kids who were just kind of behind in their math and reading skills, and oh my goodness, that job was absolutely amazing. I never found a job where I felt like I had purpose and like I was fulfilled, and I was actually really sad because I had that job and it didn't pay a whole lot. So when my wife became pregnant, we decided that I was going to be a stay-at-home dad, and I was very happy with that. But I kind of realized that I still need something for me to kind of call my own. And then I realized, hey, I kind of always wanted to try the YouTube and streaming thing. So I'm going to have this time on my hands, and my wife makes enough money for the both of us. So you know what? Why not? And so here I am.
So how many years, you were a teacher, correct? So how many years were you a special ed teacher?
Sorry, ice cube. So I started, I believe, in the spring of 2019. So it was about a year and a half.
Nice. Do you have any interesting stories about teaching special ed students?
Oh, of course I have interesting stories, but it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick just one. First of all, man, these kids are just like just the happiest, like sweetest kids that you will ever meet. Just like I would like some, I would choose hanging out with them all day than some adults. Like they, oh my gosh. There was this one kid, actually. It was my responsibility to teach him math. He was in a completely different math level than everybody else, so he and I would go to a different room, and I would teach him his math. And sweetest kid that you will ever meet, but math was very hard for him. So there was a lot of positive reinforcement. It was a lot of encouragement. It was a lot of, hey, you can do this. You can do this. And we just kept working. We kept working on counting, adding, subtracting, adding up money, stuff like that. And I'll never forget, so we went away for that spring. Then we came back in the fall, and I don't remember what it was. The teacher was asking everybody to sort of, add and then subtract. So you do like 2 + 2 = 4. And then she was asking them to do like, okay, then what's 4 - 2, kind of thing. So just kind of reverse it. And oh my goodness, like it comes easy for us, but it did not come easy for level. Like that's basic algebra what he did, and I lost it. We were on a Skype call because of COVID. I lost it on the camera. Like I was so proud of this kid, and this kid, like you could tell, he liked to please people. Like he wanted to do well. He wanted, that reinforcement. And he just this kid just melted in his seat like a puddle. He was so happy.
So, being a teacher for special ed students, I'm not saying that being a special ed student is a bad symptom or anything, but like there's not enough awareness for that type of issue out there. You could read about cancer all you want, and like diabetes and other like more severe things, but like ADHD and people who are suffering from learning disabilities. What would you say to them who like need that positive enthusiasm?
So sorry, you kind of cut out just a little bit. So just to make sure that I understand your question, like what would I say to somebody who was kind of in a special, who was in a special ed class? Okay, well, the first thing that I would say is there is nothing that anybody else can do that you can't do. Like you want to be an astronaut, you can do that. I mean, you're going to have to put in the work like everybody else, but there's nothing you can't do. Like, I had to have these conversations with kids so many times because they were in a sped class and they knew it. And so, I just had to explain to them. I was like, hey, you're only in here just because you need some more help. That's all. Like, I was the same way as a kid. I hated math. I hated reading. I just needed somebody to kind of pay some more special attention to me. That's all. And so yeah, that's the first thing I would say is there's nothing you can't do.
I actually relate to this topic a lot because not many people know this, but I'm actually a special ed student myself. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, this what you said actually touches me a lot. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, man. You're gonna make me cry.
Let's move on to your next question. What are some nice achievements you've moved on, like onto Twitch, maybe going onto YouTube, TikTok, Instagram? What do you feel that you've achieved?
What have I achieved? Oh my gosh. So I started on YouTube, I think. It was about September of 2020. So what, 10 months ago maybe. And gosh, I was looking at old pictures on my phone, and even just my setup has improved since then. There's an old picture on my Instagram of me sitting in a corner of a room, like I'm in this like giant flowery chair, that was only like $10 at Goodwill. There's like my cord management system is terrible. Cords everywhere. There's an old TV that I have to play my games on. So at least it's just as far as my setup, I feel like I've done okay. I would say more importantly though, there are skills that I have that I did not have at all before I started. I mean, as far as just software stuff like editing a video, I could not edit a video to save my life, and I'm still learning. Also, before I started this, my only social media was a Facebook. So I didn't have Discord. I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have a Twitter. I just got a TikTok maybe like a month ago. So I had just using my Instagram and TikToks to promote my channel, because I've learned you want to grow on Twitch, you gotta use that social media, man. Especially if you want it to happen a little faster.
Yep, that's completely true. So yeah. When you said you did Facebook, how many years did you do on Facebook, like promotion for your Twitch or YouTube?
So years. Well, maybe that first month last year when I started, I did I told all my friends on Facebook, but I very quickly realized I was like, okay, I need to find a better way to reach a wider audience, and so that's kind of when I switched to Instagram. I use my Instagram mostly to promote my channel.
Sweet.
So yeah, I had a Facebook, gosh, for like starting in maybe 2008. I had it for like 12 years before I moved on to anything else.
So, do you ever plan to or want to be a professional gamer or a professional streamer, like many content creators like Ninja, PewDiePie, and such, or you know?
I do. Gosh, I love what I do. I love the community of people that I have, and I love experiencing like games together. I would love this to be what I do for a living. Not just because I love it so much, but also just more selfishly and more practically speaking, I want to continue to be a stay-at-home dad, and I want to be able to support my family while staying at home with my kids. And like, yeah, because being a stay-at-home dad, like I thought that being a paraeducator was, you know, the best job I had. No, being a stay-at-home dad is the best job that I've ever had. But I still need something that's for me. I still need to feel like I am contributing to my family and helping to provide. And so I would love for this to become a full-time thing. Yeah, for those reasons.
So, like you said, you're a stay-at-home dad and a father. How do you manage your like time wisely in between fatherhood, influencer, and husband?
I married a good woman. That's what. That's what I did. Yeah, so I watch. So my son's name is James. We call him Jimbo. I watch Jimbo during the day, and if he's being good, if he's not being as needy, I like to put him on the floor around here. You know, let him roll around with his toys, and I'll work on stream stuff. I'll edit videos if he allows. But then my wife comes home, and I stream at night. That's why I wish I could stream more during the days, like a lot of streamers, but I just can't right now. Maybe when he's a little bit older and can entertain himself for the afternoon, but right now I can't. I can't, you know, hop on a stream and, you know, be like, hey guys, and then 30 minutes in, I am so sorry, but my son is being a pill. I gotta go.
We've interviewed many father streamers as well, but like many of them do that and have like streaming time and father time. But like I know this one streamer we've interviewed, Too Lame for Games. He is a bit busy during streams, and I believe he like has his son with him or his wife with him, helping him while he's streaming, and it's, you know, it's just like you said, it's there.
Yeah. How old is his son, or does his son look, if you don't mind my asking?
I think he's 7.
Oh gosh, so he's a handful. He's running around.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very fortunate. My son is only 6 months, so he's not as mobile yet. And I'm very fortunate to kind of have a room in our house that we call the studio. So when I start streaming, we close the door. My wife hops on the stream. She's a moderator for me, and she can watch the baby. So it's easier now. But when he starts getting mobile, that's when we'll have to start talking about how, hey, when that door is closed, you can't come in unless it's an absolute emergency.
Does your wife ever plan to stream or join you in a stream?
So she's actually joined me a couple of times. Actually, a couple of days ago when we did that murder mystery stream, she had actually gotten Jimbo off to bed earlier than usual. And so when that happens, sometimes I'll just scoot over, she'll pop in and she'll stream with me. She is very much an introvert though. She would very much prefer just being behind the camera and, helping me with the lights. She actually put together my shelf. She arranged all the items that you see behind me. She very much prefers stuff like that as opposed to being in front of an audience on camera. She does pop in and she does very well on camera. For being someone who does not like being in front of the camera, she does pretty good. And I would love having her more, or her on more. But yeah, our son goes to bed at starts going to bed somewhere between 8:30 and 10. And I start at 6:30, and sometimes about the 10 o'clock hour is kind of when I start to wind down. So she doesn't come on as much, and she does not mind that at all.
So, Sky, I believe I met you through Dr. Bosky when you rated him, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I gotta say, that was quite the hype.
Yeah.
From a raid. I think that takes the cake as far as raids and someone being like, "Thank you so much for the raid. Let's give him all the hype." There was animations,
yeah.
There was that crazy video, because I've rated some people that were just like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Just kept going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Bosky is a very humble person. I believe we interviewed him a long time ago on this podcast, the What the Hell Are We Doing podcast. So yeah, he's an amazing person. Amazing person. So next question.
He was so fun to watch.
Yeah. He's a very cool person. So, Sky, if you could stream or hang out with any famous person, a streamer, a celebrity, a singer, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I feel like because if it was just a streamer, I feel like if it was a streamer that I was gonna hang out with, gosh, it would have to be Mars. That's Mars with a Z.
Oh.
Yeah, just because she was the one where I first watched her. I was like, oh my gosh, you actually make me believe that I can do this. I actually did reach out to her once via Instagram. Of course, she didn't reply because she's got to be getting 50 million DMs a day from all of these creepy weird people. But as far as streamers, oh my gosh, that would be a dream come true. I, of course, would just be very starstruck and probably just melt in my chair and just be super awkward. But if I had to pick a celebrity though, like a movie actor,
like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
I would,
Shawn Mendes.
I'd have to go with Hugh Jackman. I think he would be super fun to have on stream. I'll never forget, because the first movie I ever saw him in was Wolverine. Sorry, not Wolverine. X-Men as Wolverine. And then I find out, later that, oh my gosh, he could be in romantic comedies. He's on Broadway, and he's actually a good singer.
What's your favorite movie you've seen him in? Because my favorite movie I've seen Hugh Jackman in is The Greatest Showman. I'm not sure if you watched it or not.
Oh my gosh, I love The Greatest Showman. That's absolutely such an amazing movie. Favorite movie that I've seen him in, gosh. All right, this one's gonna be a weird one. So I actually I very much enjoy chick flicks, like romantic comedies, While You Were Sleeping, Wedding Planner, Serendipity, all that kind of stuff. So I actually really liked him in Kate and Leopold. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
I don't believe
it was no, it's okay. It's not as well known. It's a time travel movie basically where he's like this duke from like the 1700s or whatever. So imagine this like very proper, English, Hugh Jackman or whatever coming to New York in the 21st century. And of course falls in love with the girl there. But I liked that one.
Great. So now let's talk about your most craziest questions now. What's the craziest drink you've ever made? Like beverage.
Craziest drink I've ever made. Oh gosh. So I'm not that great at mixology. When I get whatever alcohol I get, I usually just drink it straight. Like I'm very much a whiskey guy. So I've been sampling different kinds of whiskeys lately. I'll get a little I'll get a little adventurous with what's maybe in my fridge. Like I think I mixed Crown Royal Vanilla whiskey with Pepsi, and I just kind of started calling that the Jolly Rancher because it tasted like a watermelon flavored Jolly Rancher. But as far as like craziest drinks that I've ever made, unfortunately, that's the top one. It's not super exciting.
So speaking of alcohol, why don't you tell us about that story you told us on stream a few days ago about you sipping alcohol with your friends at the baseball game?
Sipping alcohol with my friends at the baseball. Yeah. It's not that crazy of a story. If anything, it's anything but crazy because it shows, how I don't hold my alcohol super well. Because so I live in Washington and our baseball team here is the Mariners. So I went to a Mariners game last week, and I decided that I was going to be decadent and I was going to get a giant Mac and Jack's beer, and so I have this big beer, and of course all of my friends were drinking with me, and they finished their drinks maybe by like the end of the second inning, right? End of the second or third or whatever. Man, we're at the bottom of the ninth, and I still have like maybe a quarter to a half of my beer left. Because I guess I am very much a beer sipper.
I mean,
I would say
you kind of were responsible since you were. I think you said you were driving. So
I was driving, and if you have ever driven in Seattle, you'll know why you have to be very careful because, oh gosh, I absolutely loathe driving in Seattle. I loathe it with a passion. Everywhere else in the US, I feel like there's order, the rules make sense. But in Seattle, there's like one road where you actually have to drive on the left side, and everybody just drives crazy. The streets are super small. No matter what car I drive, I feel like, I feel like I'm just gonna run over everything. I feel like everything is too tiny for me to fit through, and it's just so stressful. I make my wife drive us every time.
So list your favorite beers from your go-to beers, your don't want to try again beers.
My go-to beer is a Blue Moon, for sure. That's just, if I can't make up my mind, and I just need to grab something, it's a Blue Moon all the way. As far as never gonna try again, the only thing that comes to mind right now is I think it's Coors Light. I think that's again, I'm still very much trying to, I'm very much a beginner when it comes to alcohol. I'm trying different stuff. I'm not super well versed in what all beers are out there. But I think Coors Light is the one that I've tried where I'm like, I don't think I ever want to drink that again. I think I would be okay if I never even saw a Coors Light ever again in my life.
Did you have a bad experience with it?
No, it just tasted bad. Like, I think it was after work and I was like, I've never tried a Coors Light. Okay. And everyone's like, really? All right. Well, I've never tried it. Your funeral. And I was like, oh, this is actually really kind of gross. I think the worst mistake that I made with alcohol though was and of course, still kind of being new to alcohol. I've never been drunk or anything in my life. Gosh, it was a couple years ago. My wife made some very delicious sangria, and so I had a couple glasses. I had a couple of glasses of that, and I'm like, yeah, that was really good. But then I was like, you know what? Some whiskey too. And so I had a couple glasses of whiskey, and then not knowing that you can't mix wine and whiskey, like that's really bad. And of course, I was puking the rest of the night.
Yeah. So now let's get to you a bit of the COVID question. So, what did you go through to COVID? I think you said you were new throughout the COVID and Twitch streaming. Did you see an influx in viewers coming to your Twitch streams, a decrease? Tell us through it.
So I actually started in the middle of COVID. So gosh, if COVID started like March 2020, I kind of got into the YouTube thing maybe September, October. So I didn't necessarily see an influx from COVID since I kind of started in the middle of it. COVID didn't really have anything to do with why I started. It was purely because my wife was pregnant. I was going to be a stay-at-home dad, so I decided that while I was still working from home as a teacher, so I had a lot of time on my hands still. So I just decided, you know what, I might as well start it now. And then I actually took a break from the YouTubing and I started streaming. I actually enjoy that a lot better. So my plan is to kind of just do the streaming thing for a while and then maybe go back and build my YouTube.
Same. But like, how did COVID affect you personally on your personal day-to-day life? Did you see anyone close by like get sick? Did you get sick? Anything happen?
So my family and I were extremely fortunate. I had friends get sick, but it was never anything deadly. It was just for them it was just a worse cold than usual. But as far as how it actually affected us, my wife and I were very fortunate to have jobs that were, very important. I was a teacher, and she's actually an accountant. And of course, companies still need to have their money counted. So she actually, when it started, she actually worked from home, and then the school that I was working for just canceled school until the end of the summer, starting in September, and then we came back online. So for a while we were just in our house together. She was just working, and I was still getting paid by the school district to just sit around and clean the house. And of course, that was when we found out we were going to have a baby. So I got paid by the school district to stay at home and get the house ready for the baby. And but we were very fortunate because, my wife and I, we kind of like each other. We kind of like we're the kind of people we very much enjoy being together as much as we possibly can. And so this was very good for us. We were also very fortunate to have friends who didn't have to necessarily be super worried about their families. We were all still kind of careful, but they'd still come over. We'd still get to have some human interaction, while still being safe, of course. But
Sweet. That's very nice. So, going back to your Twitch questions, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you on stream?
oh, there's a couple of these.
Oh.
I'm actually gonna say the craziest thing that has happened was actually the story of how I got affiliated on Twitch. It took me 24 days of streaming to get affiliated. So while I was getting affiliated, I was trying anything and everything. I was streaming at all hours of the day, trying to figure out when's the best time. And I was getting to know other streamers as well. So I came across one streamer. Her name is My First Kill, or she goes by M1K on Twitch. And so I popped into her stream, and actually she came onto my stream once. I was very surprised. This is a partnered streamer, and she popped into my stream, and I wasn't even affiliated yet. And she was like, "Oh my goodness, you are awesome." At this point I was about 11 followers away from getting affiliated, and she was like, "You know what? Tomorrow when I'm streaming, I'm gonna raid you and we're gonna get you affiliated." And of course, and I say, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much." In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, "Are you really though? You're a partnered streamer. I'm sure you've got other people you'd rather raid than me." And of course, come the next day, I'm playing The Evil Within, and I'm killing some monster, and then all of a sudden I see this notification, or I see my chat blowing up saying, "You have been raided by M1K and 80 viewers." Like 80 people.
Wow, that's a big raid.
I broke on stream. Like I was emotional, like I was laughing, I was crying. I think there's clips of it somewhere on Twitch. Yeah, it was even my viewers at this point had said, "M1K, I think you broke Skyblur." I couldn't talk for like maybe 5 minutes. And then I even brought, just to say thank you, I even brought my sometimes I bring my baby boy on stream to say hi. So of course at this point I had to bring my baby. She raided me with 80 people, and to say thank you I needed to bring my baby on. And so yeah, I think that takes the cake. There is one moment as well, actually it happened about last week. I think I was streaming a new horror game. It's called Ghost Hunter Core. It's a lot like Phasmophobia, and oh my gosh, my chat and sorry, everything just fell into place with this one moment, is what I was trying to say. Somebody in my chat paid my wife to jump in and scare me. But at the same time, somebody completely different who had no idea what was going on played a scare alert. And then my cat jumps up onto my lap and scares the ever-loving crud out of me. And then the game starts freaking out. And this all happens in the span of about 5-10 seconds. So I get the ever-loving soul scared out of me. And of course, I had that moment got clipped and is on my Twitch and my TikTok.
That sounds like a lot of fun, but at the same time, scary.
Yeah. Hey, it's I think it's the most popular video on my TikTok right now. I think it got up to like 5,000 views.
So your next question is, what are some funny moments besides the one you listed that happened to you on your TikTok?
That happened to be on my TikTok. Gosh, I think other than that moment, which in my opinion is just the funniest, I think, oh my gosh, I think one of my favorite TikTok videos is actually the one of my son. there's a TikTok sound that goes it goes something like this. I don't want to alarm anyone, but I haven't snacked in 25 minutes. I don't know if that counts as some kind of award, but of course, I use that sound, but I zoomed in on his face because my son is a little fatty. He eats all the time.
Oh,
And of course, I make fun of my cats too.
how many animals do you have actually?
Right now, I have 5 cats.
Nice.
Yeah, my wife loves cats. So my wife had one when we got married, and then we decided to get another one. So we started out with 2 cats. It was Jager and Felicity. Then we moved into a bigger house, and we're like, well, we don't have the apartment people telling us how many cats we can have, so we can get 2 more. And so then for a while we just had 4, and then actually recently we had a couple of our friends who found a stray kitty in their apartment complex, and of course my wife and I have a very hard time resisting sad kitty situations, and so long story short, we now have 5 cats.
So, Sky, what was your motivation for streaming when you first started out, and how has it changed since you are now affiliated on Twitch?
So my motivation in general for getting onto the internet and playing games was, of course, because I was going to be a stay-at-home dad, and I wanted to do something that I loved doing on my own time. But I think my motivation for getting into streaming specifically was because I started streaming in March of 2021, so I've only been streaming for 5 months now. And my motivation for that was I very much respond to a live audience. The YouTube thing was actually kind of hard because you're trying to be like very fun and lively and active on a video, but you don't really have an audience, at least an immediate audience that's watching you. So that's one of my favorite things about Twitch, and I would say that motivation is since I've gotten affiliated, that motivation has only increased. I very much just enjoy hanging out with anybody and everybody. I like providing an environment where anybody and everybody just feels safe. My motivation, I think, has started with just kind of wanting to hang out with people, but now it's sort of morphed into just kind of providing a place where anybody and everybody can feel safe and want to hang out, where they can just kind of come together and just laugh after a really bad day. I had somebody come on the stream and tell me, hey, I just need you to know that you're doing way more than just playing a video game. I had a horrible day, and I'm coming and I'm watching you. Sorry, I'm hitting my mic. I'm coming and I'm watching you, and my spirit has just been lifted. You are using your stream to just love on people, and I heard that, and I was just like, that's what I want to keep doing.
Yes, that's a lot of things that we as influencers have to go through. I'm not saying that you're not going to face this in the upcoming years, maybe months, maybe days, but maybe I want to just say this from experience, but certain viewers will come to you for advice, maybe life advice. Maybe they're going through some traumatic experience, maybe they're thinking of dark thoughts. So we as influencers have a sort of responsibility to bring joy to people. So yeah, that's actually one of the good things about being an influencer, because that's like a fulfillment that you're doing a good job. So your next question is about Marvel, all right? List your favorite Marvel movies based on their on the characters. So if you like Hulk based on his or her movie.
Okay, so my favorite characters based on their movie.
Yep.
Okay. Gosh, this is actually a pretty easy one. I'm gonna have to go with Captain America. And I know that listen, I know that is such a cliche, boring answer. Like, oh, of course you like Captain America. He's the main guy, whatever. No, I really like Captain America, and that's because of his first movie. So actually, growing up, I was always a very skinny kid. For the longest time, I was 130 pounds. I was a pencil. Like, I was not very good at athletic stuff at all. I could not run fast. And of course, you know, I kind of had a rough time of it in high school because there was always guys that were more athletic than I was. And I sort of kind of felt put down because I was always so skinny. And of course, you know, I watched Captain America, and I didn't know this about Captain America, actually, at this point. I didn't really know anything about the character, but I had no idea that he started out as like a 90-pound asthmatic guy. And what I absolutely love about that character was even when he was 90 pounds and asthmatic, he still wanted to go to war. He still wanted to fight for what he thought was right, and there was nothing that was going to stop him. Whether he, you know, just because he was a pencil, he wanted to fight for what was right because he didn't like bullies. And what I absolutely love about that movie comes down to the scene between Steve and I believe it's Dr. Erskine, the guy who was in charge of the super soldier program, where Steve asks Dr. Erskine, "Why did you pick me?" And Dr. Erskine says, I was like, "Listen, the way that my formula works is it amplifies what's already inside you. So, you know, bad becomes worse, but good becomes great." And what I love about Dr. Erskine was because he chose Steve not based on his physicality, but because of his heart. And I just, oh my gosh, I just related to that so deeply. And yeah, he's just been my favorite Avenger ever since.
Sweet. So what are your other two favorite characters based on your movie?
Based other two. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, but you didn't say the movie.
I'm gonna have to.
Of Captain America. Did you say the first Avenger, Winter Soldier?
I said the Captain America, the first Avenger.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Other two based on their movie. So I'm gonna have to go with Thor, I think. And my favorite Thor movie being Thor Ragnarok. Because Thor before that, like, as a character, he was great in the Avengers movies, but his movie franchise, you know, Thor and then Thor the Dark World, they were just kind of meh for me. But then Thor Ragnarok comes, I was like, oh my gosh, like, Thor's a comedy now. And I guess I liked that, you know, because Thor is he's the Avenger that has lost the most out of all of them. And so, you know, especially in Thor Ragnarok, you know, losing his dad and then his home, and then even in Infinity War, his people and his brother. But what I loved, I guess I loved Thor's spirit, like his hey, I don't care what happens, we're not giving up. And let's see, the third one based on their movie. I think I got to go with Spider-Man. First of all, I think Tom Holland just does an absolutely amazing job as a young Spider-Man. Just kind of playing the just like the super unsure of himself, like, geek. Like, I think Tom Holland just does an absolutely amazing job. And it's been a while since I've seen Homecoming, but I think just the character of Spider-Man based on that movie, having just gotten these powers and just starting to find his identity, like who he is, what's he going to use, how is he going to use these powers, and he wants to be an Avenger, but he's so new, he's so unsure of himself, he doesn't know who he is. Also, I think the relationship between him and Iron Man 2 was just impeccable. Yeah. Oh my gosh, the moment in Endgame when they hugged after Peter came back, I couldn't handle it.
Now, what's your favorite MCU moment from either all the MCU movies or just one specific movie?
You're not allowed to make fun of me because I chose the scene that everybody is choosing right now. Okay, it's portals. It can't be anything other than the portals scene in Endgame. That I seriously, I listened to that soundtrack probably, like, that's what gets me hyped up in the morning when I'm getting ready, man. Like, that's there's just so many perfect moments in that one. Well, I mean, just before Steve having lifted Mjolnir.
That's my favorite scene right there.
Right? I mean, that came close. I just think that the portal scene was just in a completely different league. Like, every possible Avenger finally coming together for the first time. Of course, Steve finally saying the words "Avengers Assemble."
Didn't he say it in Ultron? Avengers: Age of Ultron.
They hinted at it. So he, at the very end of Avengers: Age of Ultron, Steve, starts to say "Avengers," and then it cuts to black. So he didn't quite. And they implied that he did say it, but of course they didn't show it. They just very much teased the audience.
I could have sworn he said it in that movie.
So I mean, he started to say it because it showed him saying Avengers, and then his mouth even starts to do the thing where he's about to say the word assemble, and then it goes to black.
All right. So, Sky, what are your current thoughts on the MCU timeline, and what the occurrence of the future MCU movies will be?
So first of all, I gotta say, I think that Marvel has done an incredible job, sort of setting the foundation for what the MCU is going to be from now on. Because, oh my goodness, Endgame was just the best climax to any major franchise that you could have ever possibly asked for. I just think that they ended that saga just so perfectly. But it can be difficult then if it's going to continue from there. It can be difficult to keep the momentum going. And I think that they've done an amazing job doing that with their Disney Plus shows like WandaVision, which I loved. Of course, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then Loki just recently. And of course they've got some movies coming out, Legend of Shang-Chi, and the Eternals, which I'm actually excited about.
Did you watch Black Widow?
Yes. I'm sorry, I forgot about Black Widow. Yes, I did watch that. I very much enjoyed that. I had no idea that I needed an origin story for the vest, but apparently I did, and I'm so glad that I got it.
I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I've heard that Natasha, the actor who is playing Natasha, is suing Disney for not releasing Black Widow on Disney Plus earlier. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us more?
I heard about that. I heard about it yesterday, actually. So I believe, and again, I don't really know a whole lot about it. I'm still doing my research, but I believe that Scarlett Johansson had a deal with Disney that she was going to be paid based off of what it made at the box office. And so because Disney then decides to go ahead and release it on Disney Plus, she's not being I mean, that's money that she's losing. She's not being paid based off of that. So, I mean, that's kind of all I know at this point. But just based off of that, I kind of got to side with Scarlett Johansson on that one. If Disney's, you know, just kind of breaching the contract and sort of I don't know. I feel like it was kind of a shady move. Like, hey, we're going to pay you based off what it makes at the box office, but we're also going to put it over here where it's going to kind of make us money as well, but you're not entitled to whatever money it makes over here. Well, that's not fair. She worked on the movie. The movie wouldn't have happened because of her. She should be paid based on whatever it makes.
Yeah, I think I saw something on an article or something, but like, it released a week or 2 weeks earlier on Disney Plus than on the box office and everything.
It did? I don't remember that. I thought they came out at the same time.
You know, you pre-ordered it for like $30 plus tax, and you got it like a week before on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
So they did that shady move.
They did that?
Yeah.
Man, Disney, how can you be so wonderful and terrible at the same time?
So, going back to your Loki question, did you hear about that Loki spaceship? The director or the co-director of Loki hinted at.
So yeah, I saw that. I mean, I saw that just now, the spaceship, and I have to be honest. That spaceship appeared in the last episode of Loki, right?
Correct.
I have to be honest, I missed that spaceship. I completely missed it. There was so much going on in Loki, and I haven't gone back and rewatched it. You know, having a 6-month-old baby sort of kind of hinders my ability to rewatch TV shows and movies. But I'm looking at the screenshot of it and of the photo of the ship, and it kind of looks like a Quinjet, maybe not really, but kind of looks like a Quinjet.
You know what's coming to mind? You know that beginning scene in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with the Golden Lady? What's her name?
Yes.
Yeah, she has small ships. Yeah, it could be one of those.
She
ships.
has.
The small like.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think that's how they're going to introduce Adam Warlock?
Possibly, because he can travel through time, and the Loki's at the end of time, so maybe.
Oh my gosh, because the Adam Warlock tease that happened. Gosh, that happened quite a few years ago. I had even forgotten about that. Yeah, it was like 2017 that came out. Yeah. So that's 4 years ago that they teased Adam Warlock, and we haven't seen anything about Adam since then.
So
I don't know. It could be anything in this massive cankled universe that is the MCU. Like, it could be anything.
So, what are your current thoughts on the villain of Loki, Kane the Conqueror?
Wait, the Conqueror. Okay, so you're talking about
the guy that's
you're
purple.
talking about the
the blue mask, purple. For the comics.
Oh my! Oh my gosh! I don't remember too much from the Loki show. It was in the show, you said?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Oh my lord! Did it appear at the end? At the end of it? Oh my gosh! I must have tuned out. My son must have done something on the floor that was super cute, because apparently I turned my eyes away from the Loki show for like 30 seconds. I'm missing spaceships, and I'm missing that. I don't remember that at all. I am so sorry.
No problem. So what's one? We were going back to your Twitch question, by the way. What's one thing you wish you've known before you started streaming? What advice would you give yourself before you knew you would become a Twitch streamer?
So one of the first pieces of advice that I would give myself is Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, I'm kind of a person that I feel like if I don't like do it perfect, or if I don't like go all the way with it, I feel like I've kind of failed and I didn't really succeed at it. But streaming is something that you just have to start wherever you're at, and you have to build from there. So when I started streaming, especially while I was getting affiliated, the attitude that I had was, hey, it's not going to be perfect. It may never measure up to my expectations, because I can be a little bit of a perfectionist sometimes. And that's okay. Just because you see flaws and issues, that doesn't mean that that's what everybody else will see. The best thing that you can do is, especially if you know you have a lot to learn, you have a lot to work on, and you can't do it all in one day, obviously. The best thing to do is just make sure your stream is better than it was yesterday. Especially when you're starting out, it's super easy to just pick one thing that day and say, okay, I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna learn how to edit a video. I'm gonna learn how to adjust the settings on my camera so I look better. I'm gonna learn how to I'm gonna research microphones. I'm gonna learn how to add a compressing filter to my microphone. I'm gonna do at least one thing today that improves the quality of my stream. And that's kind of the attitude that I've had now in 5 months of streaming. I have the Post-it note application on my computer, and I have Post-it notes on this screen over here that I'm looking at, like things that I need to work on, goals that I have for the end of the month, like smart, realistic goals. Because I think as a streamer, it's important to feel like you're moving forward. And if you don't like keep goals, and you don't keep track of goals maybe that you've already achieved, you can sort of feel like you're sort of plateauing, even though that might not be the case. So you kind of have to feel like you're moving forward, but also remember what you've done in the past, so you know you're moving forward. If that makes any sense. I feel like I rambled.
Oh no, it makes complete sense. So very close to the end of the podcast. We have our final 3 questions for your speech. Yay!
Okay. Yeah. All right. Speech.
So how hard did you work to get to where you are right now? How hard did you promote your Twitch? You're an outrovert, right? Introvert, outrovert.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Are you introvert, outrovert, extrovert?
Oh gosh. I'm more of an extrovert.
All right. So how did you prepare yourself mentally, physically to, be in front of an audience and work your way to where you are right now?
Yeah. So as far as being in front of an audience on streaming, that's actually something that came pretty naturally to me. So actually, growing up, I was always a theater and a choir kid. I loved performing. I was always in musicals growing up, plays. I even majored in drama at college, actually. So I even helped found my college's improv team. So I did a lot of that stuff. So as far as being in front of an audience, that's something that I knew pretty well. So I at least had that going for me while I figured out all the technical stuff.
So besides streaming, what are your hobbies offline when you're not in front of a camera?
Offline when I'm not in front of the camera. Well, I spend as much time as I possibly can with my family. Being a dad to a 6-month-old keeps me pretty busy. I actually am a singer. So I don't play instruments or anything like that. But I am a singer. So I'm on the worship team at my church. And so I do that. But yeah, other than that, being a dad to a 6-month-old baby. I've mentioned this earlier, but my wife and I, we like to play some murder mystery games after the after the Jimbo goes to bed. And we play video games together too, and hang out with our friends and go swimming at the lake and play outdoor sports. Yeah.
Nice. So this is completely optional, but would you mind giving us a little insight and example of your singing?
What do you want to hear?
Anything you can sing.
Oh gosh. Let's see. I can't put me on the spot here, man. Gosh, I sing all the time, and then someone sing something. Like I don't know what to sing. I don't remember any
If
words.
you want, I'll search a song that you can sing, if that makes it easier.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. How about just the two of us?
Oh gosh, I only know I know the line, just the two of us. You know what? We were talking about greatest showman earlier, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Gosh, how does the song Rewrite the Stars start out?
You can search it up. Don't worry. We have
goes-
time.
Okay. I'll search up the lyrics for it here. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. You know I want you. It's not a secret I try to hide. I know you want me. So don't keep saying our hands are tied. You claim it's not in the cards and fate is pulling you miles away and out of reach from me. But you're here in my heart, so who can stop me if I decide that you're my destiny? What if we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing could keep us apart. You'd be the one I was meant to find. It's up to you, and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. So why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours tonight.
That was amazing. That was
there
nice.
You go.
Congrats.
Haven't sung that one in quite a while, so there you go.
So your final and your last question before we end off the podcast and you do your speech is what do you see yourself in the next 10 years, maybe 20 years for your Twitch streaming and yourself? Like what do you project yourself to be or become?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, as long as I don't sound like a super egotistical maniac, I guess. I mean, I'm seeing myself as a Twitch partner, with thousands of followers, I guess. I'm seeing myself in the studio here. I've kind of painted the walls a little bit. Maybe I've got the things on my walls like Markiplier does, like the acoustic foam padding. Obviously my son is grown up, so I want, when he's a little older, I want to have him on stream and play games with him. And but mostly I aside from the growth and everything like that, I really hope my stream is still just a place where people can come when they've just had a bad day and they can just have their spirits lifted. And I really just hope my stream is still a place where people can feel like they belong. Especially if they feel like they're a weirdo like me when I was a kid. But yeah, just kind of a safe place where everyone to feel like they belong. I hope that's what my stream still is.
Nice. That's an amazing prediction of yourself. So it's now time for the podcast speech.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Well, I gotta say I really don't have too much for you except just some advice for maybe some people who are like me when if maybe you're someone who has thought of getting into streaming or YouTubing or whatever, but you just sort of feel like nobody would watch it. Let me tell you that the internet is a weird and crazy place, and there is an audience for everything. You could make videos of yourself riding a tricycle while shoving pineapples up your nose, and there are people that are going to watch that. I actually would. That kind of sounds awesome. um but yeah, I would just say that if you want to start streaming, like, today's the day. Oh, but I don't have a game capture card. Today's the day. I don't have a microphone. Today's the day. Here's the thing, chances are if you want to get into streaming, you probably have everything that you already need. You probably have a game console. Is it gonna look pretty? No. Is your stream going to be better in a month after you've been streaming? Yes. But I would just say, don't let any of that stop you. Anybody can get into streaming. I don't think everybody can be a great full-time streamer. If you want that, I'm still learning myself. But if you want that, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of just discipline and doing the right kind of work. But you're never going to know if you have the chops for it if you don't download OBS and hit the go live button. So I would just say stop listening to those lies in your head that are telling you you're not going to be a good streamer. Nobody's going to want to watch you. Like, come on. There's an audience for anything and everything, and you have no idea like the lives that you could touch. I had no idea when I started streaming that people were going to actually want to watch me at the end of a very long and bad day, and they would feel better by the end of it. Like, you could be that for somebody. And if you have had a very bad day, I welcome you to come and hang out with me on my Twitch channel. We stream on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 6:30 PST. You can find me on twitch.tv/skyblur_. Or you can check out my YouTube, which is also Skyblur. I am very sorry I haven't posted to that in a while because streaming is very fun and I'm focusing on that more before I go back.
Will be in the description below if you guys want to check them out. Yep.
Sweet. Go down below, guys. Check it out.
Yeah.
I hear Skyblur is kind of cool.
Well, Skyblur, thank you for checking out and being on the What the Hell Are We Doing podcast, episode 31. It's an honor to interview you, dude, and hopefully see you again.
Thank you so much, man. Man, I've had so much fun. Sorry if I was rambling a little bit. I again, very new to streaming, very new to the internet world,
It's
and
fine,
this is
it's
the
fine.
first time anybody has interviewed me for it. So,
Well,
it is an honor to be on your show, man. Thanks for having me.
thank you for being here. Well, Skyblur, thank you for being here, and have a good time. Peace.
All right, peace out. Bye, bye, guys.